The revolution always eats its own. For right-wing parties in Israel's election, vicious infighting, backstabbing, last-minute power plays, and party splits were the entire game. The religious Zionist Yamina camp split into its component parties before the votes were even counted. Their 7-seat electoral front a marriage of convenience only. Meanwhile, waves of invective from candidates right and further right.
Netanyahu, with a lack of intelligence, a lack of understanding, unwillingness to accept that there is a real right wing here, simply dismantled his government. Bennett and Shaked are the last to be associated with religious Zionism. They come to make an exit on religious Zionism.
The hardline Jewish Power and Yamina parties are each blaming each other and the dominant Likud for their lower numbers. Otzma didn't even cross the threshold for a seat in parliament. With the votes still being counted, Yamina could be picking up 2 seats fewer than expected. And predictably, everyone is pointing fingers at one another. But was it instead establishment parties that took their votes?
I think Yamina has a problem. I think they didn't realize, or they weren't willing to admit the problem that they had. It was beyond me to understand the logic. A party which didn't pass the threshold last elections to overcome the national home, the religious national home, and put those 2 members of Knesset who didn't get re-elected, Ayelet Shaked and Naftali Bennett, as number 1 and number 4 in their list.
Since the last election in April, a field of small fringe right-wing parties were eyeing each other's voter base, and some pulled out of the race to avoid splitting the vote. Parties like the religious libertarian Zahu and the hard religious Noam dropped out at the last weeks before the election. The short version, parties to the right of Netanyahu's Likud lost about 2 seats from vote splitting, and a right-wing coalition is at least 4 seats short of building a government. So, for the foreseeable future, blame away.